Raising the Roof, presented by the Central Indiana Realtist Association, a local chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. Our mission is to build wealth through home ownership by enhancing economic development. We accomplish this goal by informing, advocating, and educating in the communities we serve. And now, Raising the Roof.
Welcome to Raising the Roof. I'm Priscilla Russell with Team Russell, your team with hustle.
I'm Dolores Kennedy with B&K Real Estate Services.
Okay, now today, Dolores, we're going to be talking about day 2 of Sarah's Realtist Week. And we'll be talking about the political advocacy day that we had. So we're going to get a lot of information with that. And that day was moderated by none other than Diana Rice Wilkerson with Fairway Mortgage. And she was just excellent.
So grab a cup of coffee, get your notebook and a pen, and take your notes, because we are going to be talking about our political advocacy day.
Can you hear me without the mic? Yeah? Good. Thank you. Well, you know, we have 2 hours for our town hall today, but as we know, this could be a 2-day discussion. You know, we might come out with scars and bruises after 2 days, so that's why we just shortened it to 2 hours. So everybody just remember that there's differences of opinions, there's different viewpoints, but what we're asking is that you kind of just open up your mind, be flexible. We definitely want you to contribute. We know this is a huge problem and it has touched most of us in this room. So what we want to emerge with today is some action plans and suggestions from our panel and things of what we can do to help bridge this gap and address the issue. I'm going to start off by saying what we're going to do is at 11:15 around noon, we are going to take a break for lunch. I know that was probably one of the very most important questions. When are we eating? We're going to take a break for lunch and then we will resume. Excuse me. So we have on our panel today, and this is in no particular order, but we have Myra Miller. Myra, raise your hand. And Myra is our appraiser expert, president of Home Guide Realty. We also have Amy Nelson, Executive Director of Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana. Renee Pack, is Renee here?
She'll be in this spot.
Okay, Renee, just look at that spot and think Renee. Renee Pack, Indiana State Representative, District 92. Greg Porter, same thing, Indiana State Representative, District 96. Cherish Pryor, Indiana State Representative, District 94, and Chris Pryor, Government Affairs for my board. Again, our topic today is addressing disparities in Black home ownership. Again, take advantage of the wealth of knowledge from our panel. Make it a point to leave the meeting with new insights and thoughts. Keep an open mind. Be kind, be respectful, and be courteous. We will hear ideas and opinions that maybe don't jive with ours, but we can still always learn something, and we always want to be respectful. Please participate with your questions. And Dolores said that someone will be coming around asking for questions, and so definitely every question is a fair question. If you have it, someone else has it as well.
Priscilla Russell, your team with hustle with United Real Estate. We've been serving Indianapolis area for over 37 years. We help our clients build generational wealth through home ownership. When you need a home or you need to sell a home, please call us at 317-872-SELF.
I want to kick off the town hall with this question. Well, first of all, I want the panelists to introduce themselves. And when you do, I want you just to give our audience a brief description in just straight talk, right? Because some of us don't know what representatives do, or what appraisers do, or what government affairs involves with my board, nor fair housing. So we're going to ask Amy to kick us off.
Hi, everybody. Amy Nelson, Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana. So we are a nonprofit, advocacy-based organization that works to address housing-based discrimination, ensuring equal housing opportunities for all. So as part of that, we educate the public about fair housing laws, making sure that they're aware. We also publish reports on where we see disparities within the industry as well. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But we also do advocacy work where we conduct investigations to uncover unlawful acts and take steps to stop that. And then we do public policy work. We're active in the State House trying to get stronger fair housing laws passed or broader housing issues as part of that. Left some materials on the table. We have, it's Happy Fair Housing Month. We haven't mentioned that yet. It is Fair Housing Month. And on Monday will be an exhibit opening at the library on redlining, racial covenants, history of sales and lending discrimination. And on April 12th is our annual Fair Housing Conference, in case you wanted to attend that as well.
Thank you. Myra?
Hello everyone, my name is Myra Lillard. I'm with Home Guide Realty Services. We're a commercial and residential appraisal firm, and we serve locally and throughout the state and national projects as well. I belong to the National Society of Real Estate Appraisers. That is the oldest and largest minority appraisal organization in the United States. I've been a part of that for over 20 years. And we have had our inroads with a lot of the things that we're going to be discussing now with appraisal bias and things like that, with one of the first urban appraising classes that kicked off with our leadership throughout the country. So I'm thinking we probably need to bring that back. So glad to be here.
Good morning. I'm State Representative Cherish Pryor. I represent District 94, which is the northwest side of Indianapolis, and I already met one of my constituents here. I have been a legislator since 2008. I have also served in the capacity of Deputy Treasurer for the Marion County Treasurer's Office. Previously worked for the Real Estate Division for the Marion County Auditor's Office. And it really was in that capacity as a real estate manager for the Auditor's Office that I really became interested in and somewhat knowledgeable of some of the issues that homeowners face as it relates to their property tax issues. And so that has really driven my interest in trying to do things that will make it easier for people to stay in their homes, and then also making sure that people apply for their deductions, and also looking at ways that we can address some of the gentrification that is going on, not only in Indianapolis, but also around the country as well. So I'm very happy and excited to be here and to listen to your questions and get information and ideas that you all may have as well. As a legislator, we pass bills and laws, and some of the bills and laws that we do pass at the state level, or attempt to, some of the bills that I've even had, I wanted to get some of those bills passed that will provide for equity in home ownership and alleviate some of the discriminatory practices that exists when minorities try to go and purchase homes, or even in some cases even keep their homes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dolores Kennedy, broker owner of B&K Real Estate Services, serving the Indianapolis community for over 25 years. I'd love to help you with your home buying experience, whether it's a new build, whether it's an existing home. I'm here to serve you. Call me. You see the number. Call me.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Pryor. I'm the Chief Advocacy Officer here at my board. And first I want to welcome you all here to my board. It's a privilege for us to be hosting this event here today, so we're happy to have all of you here. And I'm really honored to be a part of this conversation as well. So I think that we're really digging into some really great topics that are very centered in our community today and need to be addressed, long overdue in a lot of ways. So happy to be a part of that conversation. But my job as Chief Advocacy Officer is to work with local elected officials. My board covers 9 counties here in central Indiana. We have 12 counties, about 9,000 members here in central Indiana. And we're kind of the local chapter, if you will, of the State and National Association of Realtors. And I would like to give a shout out to Mark Fisher, the CEO of the Indiana Association of Realtors, and Maggie Shane over here, who's our Government Affairs Director, Vice President of Government Affairs at the Indiana Association of Realtors as well. So we work closely with the Indiana Association and the National Association of Realtors on all 3 levels, working in government affairs. My job, again, is to focus really at the local level. So within that 12-county area, working with all the mayors, city councils, county commissioners, everybody on the local level. So it's a lot of folks to try and keep track of. The state has the entire legislature, which we try to stay out of the way on that as much as possible, but the locals keep us just as busy, I think. So thank you.
Thank you, Kel. So we're going to start off with this question, and the reason I would like you to answer this question is because I really want our audience to know exactly how you're making a difference. I just want you to give one example of something that you're working on right now that is addressing the issue with homeownership with brown and black families. One example, something you're working on right now to make that better. Anyone can kick it off.
I'll be happy to start. So my board's been for the last probably 2.5, 3 years, we've had a really focused effort on trying to address the supply issue in housing. And all of our communities across the region are greatly lacking in keeping up with the demand that's out there. And so we've spent the last 2.5+ years going around doing presentations. We kind of called it our roadshow, presenting before every city council, plan commission, economic development organization, anybody we can kind of get in front of to talk about what's happening in our communities with the supply of housing, and not just limited to supply, but also drawing attention to issues of affordability and the type of housing that we're supplying in our communities. And we think that this has a huge impact in this conversation today. It's certainly a topic that's a national issue. It's not just unique to central Indiana. It's happening across the country. But a lot of what we're seeing, the lack of supply is really driven in a lot of ways by the resistance by local communities to allow for affordable product to be built in a lot of cases. Local zoning and planning development regulations prevent barriers and restrictions to building some of that. And then we're also met a lot of times with resistance from surrounding residents that object to proposal that may be something that's more in the affordable category or more dense. Those often get pushed back, and that resistance from local residents often intimidates local plan commissions and councils from approving a lot of housing projects that we would like to see move forward. And so that's really hurting our issues with supply and affordability.
I'm Karen Kelly, a broker with Fathom Realty with over 14 years of experience. As a realtor and a realtist, I advocate for my clients and value the trust that they put in me. What's important to you is important to me. Call me. I'm here to help.
So we've been doing a lot of work to investigate redlining and also appraisal-based discrimination. You may have seen some of the news about some of our recent actions there. But one thing that I wanted to bring up that I hope we'll talk about a little bit today is we've also been digging in and looking at investor purchases of single-family homes and the impact upon neighborhoods and homeownership rates. In our report that we had released, we found that many of our black neighborhoods lost homeownership units. They gained rental units, but it was almost at similar amounts to the loss of homeownership units. So it wasn't that new construction was happening, it was that the housing flipped from a homeownership opportunity to a rental opportunity instead. We want both. We want homeownership, we want rental opportunities, we want both of those in neighborhoods. And so the investors, particularly Wall Street, out-of-state type investors, is something that my organization has really been trying to dig into lately as to what to do about that, how to counteract that, how to combat it. And so there's some things that we're working on there.
And I have, this past session, introduced a bill, House Bill 1326. And that bill was a bill going towards appraisals and redlining. What it did was it specifically stated that it's illegal to redline, for banks to participate in redlining, and also it's also illegal for someone to excessively assess a property extremely low. Put in place penalties for the excessive low appraisals, and it also put in penalties as well if a company was found guilty of redlining. And it established a fund that the money would go into as well, and those funds that were set up, those could be used for down payments for individuals who wanted to purchase a home. It also would have required training for individuals who were appraisals as well, so some cultural training for individuals also. The bill unfortunately did not get a hearing, did not move. However, we have something called the Legislative Council of our 4 leaderships, the 2 leaders in the Senate, 2 leaders in the House. And what they do is they get together, they determine what issues we're going to study during the interim study committee. I and a couple of my colleagues wrote a letter to the Legislative Council asking them to make appraisals, redlining, and also gentrification as one of the topics that they study this interim while we're not in session. I will not know whether or not that is going to be one of the topics that is going to be discussed until a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months from now. But that is what I have been trying to do.
Hello, I'm Shelley Specchio, CEO of Mybor Realtor Association. We support the mission of the Central Indiana Realtist Association to improve the quality of life for the underserved and enhance the economic development for the community. At Mybor, our leadership in economic and community development efforts directly impact the strength of our communities and promote the importance of homeownership for all. Learn more about how realtors strengthen our communities at mybor.com.
Well, I can just speak as an individual appraiser locally that avail myself to actually helping homeowners look over the issues on appraisal reports that are in question in terms of any type of disparities. So what I've probably been more effective in is just more of the education of the process. So myself as well as Nezra, we're formulating I guess what we could call it as just a call to action for the consumer to know the steps that you need to take if you have issues. And I find that a lot of times people really don't know what that is. So every opportunity that I get, we try and push that forward. Again, that's actually going to happen again this weekend with Sarah's event on Saturday. So I'd avail the community to come out and hear some of the things that we can do to educate ourselves. And I believe that's really a key component to making a difference in the disparities on appraisal reports. Not only low appraisals, but also appraisals that might be too high. You know, the whole point is that we want accuracy in that. We want to know that our home has gotten a fair shot. And so what are those things that we need to look at? How do we question it properly? And how can we affect change?
And that is why we could be here 2 days instead of 2 hours. Because we could dissect each one of those and spend some time. But where I want to start, I think I heard appraisal, gaps, well, maybe not gaps, but whatever, redlining. Let's start with some questions around, let me start first with the appraisal gap question, because I think we have a lot of realtors in the room, and this appraisal gap is creating some challenges for us. And so I think the question is, what is let's see, how will new appraisal requirements, this is to Myra, and anyone else that wants to answer, but this is to Myra, how will new appraisal requirements affect appraisal gap? Are there some new appraisal requirements on the horizon?
Okay, the one new appraisal requirement from Fannie Mae is dealing with ANSI standards. Think you're referring to that?
This was a question that was just given to me.
Okay. Yeah, well, as of April 1st, ANSI standards are now enforced. Before the coming up with the gross living area for residential properties has been pretty much to the appraiser's discretion. And besides just the normal measurements, they've given specific instruction as to how do you deal with the homes that perhaps fall under the typical guideline. And ANSI is the American National Standards Institute. And so one of the things that is an issue is dealing with how much square footage does your home have? And I guess because there's been such a wide gap throughout the nation determining that, they've come up and said that we are going to all have to comply with those standards. And typically you will see, say like in the instance of a Cape Cod house, where you've made a bedroom and you have a bath up there, but for the tall guys you might have to bend down a little bit. So they've pretty much set standards, with height, 7 foot, and anything below that does not count as part of the gross living area. However, it could be counted in another part of the report. New construction really, obviously that's not going to be impacted, but where it does impact us quite a bit is in heterogeneous neighborhoods, older homes that, that are of those styles. So I think from an appraisal standpoint, I don't see it as really being an issue if the appraiser is comparing like properties. If you've got a 1.5 story, then you probably want to compare it with another 1.5 story that is experiencing similar issues, in terms of the physical nature of the property.
The questioner might also have been referring to the PAVE report that's come out, and that report does have some recommendations to changes in how people can become appraisers. There's a significant lack of diversity currently in the appraisal industry. It's overwhelmingly white, 70% male, and this new report that was put together by a number of government agencies as well as the appraisal subcommittee issued some recommendations just within the last 2 weeks, I think it is. And one of that is on appraisal diversity, amongst a number of other recommendations. The confusion potentially with the report is it doesn't necessarily make law changes, It's recommendations that government agencies can take immediately, or steps that the legislature can take, Congress can potentially take. One of the items in there is about reconsideration of values. We've heard from the appraisal industry that over 90% of requests for reconsideration are denied. Over 90% of reconsideration requests are denied. So the report had some recommendations.
Hello, on behalf of CIRA, Central Indiana Realtors Association, a local chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, we invite real estate professionals to come out and join us at our monthly meeting at the MCL cafeteria in Castleton. Come join us.
Well, I can just speak as an individual appraiser locally that avail myself to actually helping homeowners look over the issues on appraisal reports that are in question in terms of any type of disparities. So what I've probably been more effective in is just more of the education of the process. So myself as well as Nezra, we're formulating I guess what we could call it as just a call to action for the consumer to know the steps that you need to take if you have issues. And I find that a lot of times people really don't know what that is. So every opportunity that I get, we try and push that forward. Again, that's actually going to happen again this weekend with Sarah's event on Saturday. So I avail the community to come out and hear some of the things that we can do to educate ourselves. And I believe that's really a key component to making a difference in the disparities on appraisal reports. And not only low appraisals, but also appraisals that might be too high. You know, the whole point is that we want accuracy in that. We want to know that our home has gotten a fair shot. And so what are those things that we need to look at? How do we question it properly? And how can we affect change?
Well, we hope you enjoyed this segment of the Central Indiana Realtors Association Realtors Week, where we educate to elevate.
We want you to build generational wealth through homeownership, and that's why we're here. So see you next Friday at 11:30 a.m. on WHMB Channel 40. See you next week as we're raising the roof.
Sentence.
Okay.
And you don't want that.
Okay. Hello, I'm Dolores Kennedy, broker owner of B&K Real Estate Services, serving the Indianapolis community for over 25 years. I'd love to help you with your home buying experience, whether it's a new build, call me. You see the number, call me.